My wife's food is terrible. I'm finally going to have some good food today, so I've been looking forward to this since last night.
My husband drunkenly belittled me. My food is terrible? What are you talking about? You haven't had my cooking for weeks. You have been eating that homemade meal by your boss's pretty daughter, haven't you? I've been waiting for this day. I'm gonna tell them everything. My name is Cheryl. When I hear there's a sale at the local supermarket, I go there even if there's nothing in particular I want to buy. I'm 40 years old. Everything has gone up in price lately, so it's better to buy when it's on sale and freeze it to save money. I will have to work on my electric bill in the winter. Haha. Now I'm more interested in saving money and having a vegetable garden. When I was a little younger than now, I had no knowledge or interest in such things. The only thing I was interested in was my husband. I was in my late 20s at the time, married for 3 years to my husband Evan, and we had no children. I was wondering if it was time to think about having kids. My husband did not seem to be interested in having a child, saying that we should let nature take its course and that we did not have to force ourselves to have a child. He has no idea that a woman's body has a limit. Before we got married, my husband was the one who used to talk about having 2 children. Could it be that he doesn't want children anymore? Or is it a problem of financial insecurity due to the fact that my husband has not been promoted or paid well in years, even though his company has a high salary scale? There were a number of things that came to mind, but I couldn't get an answer from my husband, and all I could do was fumble around. Gradually, my husband became reluctant to discuss the possibility of having children. He would snap at me and say,
"Why not just the 2 of us?"
"It's not that we can't just be a couple. I love my husband and want to be with him forever. But it is also true that I want to have children, and it was extremely difficult for me to choose between the 2. As the number of arguments increased, there was no more opportunity for my husband and I to have a baby. And so, there was an awkward atmosphere between us. I don't know whether it was because of this or not, but my husband also stopped coming home for work, and the gap between us grew deeper and deeper. This made me reflect on the fact that I may have been too busy with thinking about having children. My husband may have had his own feelings, but I may have been putting my own wishes first, I thought. When I stopped talking about the child, my husband's attitude became calm, and it seems as if things were back to normal. However, it had become a tradition for us to have dinner every year on our wedding anniversary at the restaurant where he proposed to me. My husband would go straight to the restaurant after work, and I would dress up at home and meet up with him in front of the restaurant. I loved this day more than my own birthday because it was like when we were still dating. However, on our wedding anniversary this year, my husband did not show up at the restaurant. I waited for hours in the rain under an umbrella in front of the restaurant, and when I called his phone, he did not pick up. When I came home, he was sitting on the couch having a glass of wine. "Where have you been?"
"Oh."
He saw me all dressed up and remembered what day it was and apologized. It seems he had completely forgotten about our anniversary. I had written it on the calendar at home, but my husband didn't see it. My dissatisfaction with him about not wanting to have kids, and him not telling me how he really feels. I couldn't stop my feelings that I had been pretending to ignore from overflowing in my heart. Of course I was sad that he forgot our anniversary, but more than that, I felt as if my husband was neglecting me, so I was very frustrated. I couldn't help but blame him. What am I to you? Our wedding anniversary ended in a big fight. Someone once told me that it is a bad habit of women to be emotional. I think that's true, but I just couldn't control my emotions that day. My husband apologized to me later, but he didn't look me in the eye and didn't seem sincere either. On top of that, he never came home again, and the gap between us, which I thought had almost been closed, became even wider than before. Whenever I see him, he sometimes looks unhappy. He won't even smile at me anymore. I thought we might not make it. Just as I was thinking that, I got some very bad news. Hey Cheryl, I saw your husband walking with a woman the other day. What? I was walking back home when I came across my neighbor, and she said that to me with a smirk. Immediately, the woman next to her said, Hey, Naomi, shut it! You can't just say that, can you? But her eyes looked a little amused. They were both hoping to hear what I have to say. It shows on their faces. This is what I hate about having neighbors. At first, I tried to dodge them, thinking that they must have mistaken by someone else or something, and that I didn't want to deal with these two rumor mongers. But I was still curious. What do you mean? I saw him arm in arm with a girl who looked like a college girl. And your husband hasn't been home much lately, has he? His car isn't in the parking lot at night, too. Stop checking whose car isn't in the parking lot. It's disgusting. That's what I thought, but held back from saying it out loud. Then the neighbors continued. He's cheating on you, right? They were looking at me as if to say, Tell us something more interesting. My husband cheating on me? It's not possible. But is it true that he's with a college girl? How on earth did they know each other? Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. I want to believe my husband, but the way things are going, there is a good chance that he's really in love with her. But without proof, I didn't want to believe it yet. I thought the neighbors wouldn't know the details anyway. It's just a misunderstanding. I decided to just let the conversation slide. And later, I went to a detective agency to investigate my husband. About a month later, my husband's company held an annual party. It's a party that is attended by the company bosses and employees, as well as their families every year. Of course, I attended the party with my husband.
No, I'm telling you, my wife's food is so bad. That's why I'm looking forward to a good meal today.
My husband, who was a little drunk, said this to a junior colleague who was sitting next to him. The junior doesn't know what to say back to my husband.
No, I think that's a little too much to say. Haha.
He's smiling nervously.
No, it's true. I've been eating really bad food lately.
He keeps insisting that my food is bad. Okay. I know it's not what I planned, but since he's trying to pick a fight, what are you talking about? You eat at your mistress' house every day. By bad food, you mean your boss's daughter's cooking, right? The CEO and his wife, who were sitting behind me, gasped and turned around. My husband was looking at me with his mouth hanging open.
What? What are you talking about? Are you drunk already? Mistress? My boss's daughter? What are you talking about?
My husband tried laughing at me. You're the one who is drunk, aren't you? You haven't eaten my cooking in ages. You must have mistaken me for someone else because you're drunk. I didn't miss the look of shock on my husband's face when I said that. Then, the CEO and his wife came in.
The boss's daughter? Are you talking about my daughter?
I was going to bring this up with the CEO and his wife at the end of the party, but my husband has moved up the schedule. I was going to reveal everything here anyway. My dear husband, get ready to go to hell. I nodded silently to their question and pulled out a photo from my bag. I showed them a picture. The picture showed my husband and a young woman coming out of the hotel arm in arm. The CEO and his wife turned pale when they saw it, but my husband remained puzzled because he had not seen the picture yet.
This is...
The CEO and his wife glared at my husband.
What is it? Show me the picture.
My husband looked troubled in the face of the unusual anger of the CEO and his wife, and pulled out the photo from my hand.
What?
My husband's eyes go wide, and he goes rigid. That's the one you are having an affair with, right?
You knew? You've got to be kidding me. You're messing with my daughter.
The boss tried to grab my husband by the chest. My husband dodged his boss's attack, but was stunned as if he had no idea what was going on.
Your daughter?
You didn't know? She's their daughter.
What?
He sounded like he was about to faint.
Seriously?
My husband looked at me and the picture oddly. He finally understood his position. The CEO and his wife told my husband,
I will listen to what you have to say.
We, the CEO and his wife, left the area and invited the daughter to another room to discuss the situation. Their daughter showed up after being summoned by her parents. Caroline is still a college student. I heard she is smart and as beautiful as an actress. I thought she was too good for my husband. Caroline met my husband at the party her friend invited her to. My husband had told her that he was single, and he had always kept his wedding ring off while they spent time together. Caroline broke down and cried on the spot. I believed you when you said you would marry me. Caroline cried on the CEO's chest.
But I'm serious.
How can you get married if you're not even divorced yet? Caroline's mother yells at him.
Right.
My husband's voice became smaller. You wanted me to divorce you because of the thing about having a child, didn't you? That's why you are suddenly not interested. He looked back at me with a puzzled look on his face.
How did you know?
I know, because the detective agency told me that you wanted to get a divorce before anyone found out about the affair. You didn't want to pay me alimony when I found out about the affair, right? You wanted to pretend that you suffered emotional distress because your wife kept insisting on having a child. It seems that you have put a lot of thought into it, huh? My husband didn't argue with my words. Instead, he kept looking down with a pale face. He didn't even make eye contact with me.
You are a disgusting excuse of a man, you know that.
The boss yells at my husband too.
I apologize for what I did to your daughter, but I really meant to marry her. Shut up! If you're serious, you should get a divorce and tell her how you feel. You started out cheating on your wife, so what's the point of being serious? Can you believe that?
The husband was at a loss for words when Caroline came to him and said, I can't believe anything you say now. Caroline was in tears.
Don't you ever hang around my daughter again. You're fired. No way.
My husband was more shocked by this than hearing Caroline's words. This is all that I wanted. I'm divorcing you too. I want alimony.
I don't understand why this is happening.
I beg your pardon? I don't understand why this is happening? Didn't you create this mess? And what you said earlier about the food being bad. I'm going to tell them.
Tell them what?
What? Weren't you just telling everyone that Caroline's cooking was so terrible? Even though she had probably worked so hard on it. Poor Caroline.
Oh, wait. Don't say that.
Why are you in such a panic now? You're the one who started the whole thing, aren't you? The guy who organized the party where you and Caroline met told me all about your situation. You said that she's cute, but the only thing that's not good about her is that she doesn't cook well. She will make a good wife, you said. But that's much like being a married couple. You're going to have to work, go home, and a home-cooked meal is an inevitable part of that. Yeah, you said you've been wanting a good meal for a while.
Shut up, Cheryl.
I won't shut up. You said you were looking forward to today's food because Caroline's cooking is so bad. In other words,
stop it.
The boss and his wife stared at me and my husband as we argued. Caroline is sobbing into her father's chest, while he is staring at my husband through clenched teeth. The CEO's hand was clenched so tightly that it looked as if he might break something.
No, sir, this is not.
My husband tried to make excuses, as if it were a joke, but it was too late. There was no way the parents could stop their anger at him for wronging their daughter. The CEO and his wife start slapping and hitting my husband. Isn't that assault? Maybe. But if it were me, I'd have done that. It would be unforgivable for a parent to have their young daughter, who is still in college, be treated like that. Besides, my husband was her first boyfriend. I don't think it's right for an adult to have a date with a college girl. And I also wonder about Caroline's friend who had invited her. I also think Caroline should be a little more aware of the world. But it's still a case of an adult cheating a younger person. Whatever the background, it is 100% my husband's fault for pretending to be single and having a girlfriend when he's supposed to be married. I think he should be thankful that he lived through the slapping. My husband seems to finally understand what he had done. In the end, he was fired from the company and had to pay compensation to Caroline, as declared by the CEO. The CEO of the company has a number of group companies, including affiliated companies and regular clients, and it seems that he issued a directive not to hire him ever again. Needless to say, this made my husband's job hunting quite difficult. We divorced after making sure that the alimony and property rights were taken care of. He lost his place of residence because I got the house as part of the property division, and he moved back to his parents' house. But when his parents found out the truth about the divorce, they kicked him out. It seems that he was unforgivable, not only for cheating on me, his wife, but also for having laid his hands on a college girl who was still a minor until recently, and deceiving her. Furthermore, my in-laws demanded that he apologize to me. So I received another letter of apology. It is totally unacceptable, especially for someone of his age, to have to be told by his parents to apologize properly. My ex-husband himself seems to regret having lost his life over an affair, but it was too late. At his new job, he's working in an environment that is friendly to upper management, but very unsympathetic to the staff, and so he's working for about half of his former salary. It is not easy for a man in his 40s to change jobs, so he has no choice but to stay there. He lamented that he couldn't get a promotion at his old job because of the seniority system. I guess he would have been happier. I, on the other hand, remarried at the age of 30 to a man I met through a friend. We just had a baby girl, so we are now a family of 3. No, I'm sorry, I lied. My daughter is now 4 years old. I actually have a boy now too. My daughter is so naughty. She's so naughty that she hides things and plays peekaboo. Recently, catching bugs seems to be her favorite hobby, and my purse was once covered with bugs. My daughter says, "It's a surprise for you, Mommy." It's hard for me, who hates bugs. Ha ha ha. Still, I wanted to make her happy, so I told her I was happy even if it was a lie. But the next day, she gave me a lot more bugs as a present again. Oh, she speaks so much that it's hard to believe she is 4 years old. I'm always amazed at how naturally she joins in our conversations. I've heard that girls grow up so fast, but I didn't expect this much. My child is cheerful and full of energy, but she's a kind girl who gives me presents when I'm tired, even if there are bugs, and wants to massage my husband's shoulder when he comes home from work late at night, even though she feels sleepy. Having them in my life, I thought that my ex-husband and I were destined to divorce, and this remarriage was also destined to happen. My life has been full of many things, but I'm happy every day to be blessed with my new family.